Alright guys, welcome back to Fast Performance today, and what I'm going to show you is one of the most disgraceful videos that I've ever seen. I'm going to keep it short, and I really want your comments on this because I think I might be in the wrong here. Now, I'm a free speech absolutionist pretty much. I think you should be able to say whatever you want to say, because then I can see you saying it, we can have a dialogue. However, I think I've reached my limitation and I want your opinion on it. What we're going to see is this lady here, Elise Stefanik, who is, it says down here, I don't know much about American politics, guys, the chair of the House Republican Conference since 2021, and she's questioning three leads or heads, whatever you want to call them, from three universities in America. Now, that is MIT, Harvard, and the University of Pennsylvania, which is different to Penn State. I went to Penn State, go Nittany Lions. However, this is different. This is University of Pennsylvania, and again, I don't know much about it. So this is the film. Some of you might have seen it, but if you haven't, go and watch this, guys. We need to be on top of this, because I honestly believe that our own democracies are really vulnerable right now. I hope you do as well. Now, your comments kind of recalibrate my mindset a little bit, because of course I work pretty much entirely online. I do see a lot of other people, but I don't get the sort of general gist of what's happening in the workplace. So by all means, write to me. Tim, you're wrong in the comments. I'll read that and I'll reply to you. Tim, you're right. Big up. Happy that. Look, negative comments, positive comments mean the same to me, all right? So please hit those below. Let's get on with this right now. I'm going to play it and I'm going to stop it and I'm just going to be raging. Okay, so this is the presidents of Harvard, MIT, and the University of Pennsylvania. And this is, I'm not going to mention certain words here, because what happens is I just get strikes against me and everything else. I'm going to play this, I'm going to stop it in certain places, and we're going to comment on it.
At MIT, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate MIT's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
If targeted at individuals, not making public statements.
Yes or no? Calling for the genocide of Jews does not constitute bullying and harassment?
I have not heard calling for the genocide for Jews on our campus.
But you've heard chants for intifada.
I've heard chants, which can be anti-Semitic depending on the context, when calling for the elimination of the Jewish people.
So those would not be according to the MIT's code of conduct or rules?
That would be investigated as harassment if pervasive and severe.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct?
That should be enough for us to go, hang on, yes or no answer for that. Just back up a little bit here. Rewind, Craig David, 7 days. Yes or no? Yes. Just calling for the genocide. I'm not even going to say words because I'll get, you know how it works, guys. Yes or no? You can't answer it. That should be a stop moment there. But at least here, she's obviously a good woman. She's going to carry on. Fair play to her. I would have flashed up like 10 men at this point.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context.
I want to get in here because Elise is absolutely right on the context. So you literally have to go and kill these people first before we're going to do anything about it. That's the context. We literally have to go and do this before. As I said, I'm a free speech absolutionist. I'm incredibly challenged by this.
That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill. So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If it if the
yes
speech
or
becomes
no?
if the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment.
If it becomes conduct, right? Yeah, you know I'm a calm dude. This can't be right.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment? This is unacceptable, Ms. McGill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer.
At this point, I would have thrown these people out. That's why this woman is a lot better than I am. Fair play to her. And she's calm as a calm tiger right now, because I'd be not calm as a very uncalm tiger.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be harassment.
The answer is yes. And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do you understand that dehumanization is part of anti-Semitism? I will ask you one more time.
This woman is so patient. Oh, how do we get to this? Let's finish it off. It's only 20 seconds.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the
It's
context.
broken.
The answer is
It is
yes, and this is
broken.
why you should resign.
Awful.
These are unacceptable answers
Absolutely
across the
awful.
board.
I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of this woman. Holding these people. How do we get? You know, I'm calm because I'm a calm dude. Now, in the military, I was responsible for standards. That's the whole point, the standards. And very often we'd run up against certain things like, guys, the squadron's doing this. And other guys would go, I don't think that's right. And we'd get together, have a conversation. We'd have a conversation. We'd get together and we'd converse. And we'd red team it. And we'd say things like, okay, so can you understand that what you're saying is, and then we'd red team, we say this, we take it to left or right of arc, for example. A classic example is in the rowing club I used to be the chairman of. Now they want to, my wife's on the committee, they want to allow the rowing club to be rented out pretty much for free for members. Now, the problem with doing so, and this is a very quick example here, is if we did that, all of a sudden the rowing club, well, it could lose money because if you take it to the nth degree, a member hires out the rowing club every single night of the whole year without obviously paying for it. Would the club go bankrupt? It would in about 3 weeks probably. The alternative, do we actually get people to pay a notional fee? Does the club make money? No, it stays. Then do we get some profit if we pay more? Yes, we do. So for red team, we take it out. What we're saying here is if we imagine that all the universities, all the public institutions, everything else in America fails to call out this behavior, this call for against, I don't want to say the phrases on here because you've heard the phrases being chanted, but basically if they don't challenge this behavior, but they wait until it's actionable, i.e. they wait until the genocide is actually happening, what are we doing? How do we get to the stage? Red team it out. If all the public institutions did this in the United States or in the UK, if they all did it, it obviously would not be accepted. Why are we allowing it to be acceptable when a few are doing it? These are breeding grounds, literally, for the young future leaders of our country. Irrespective of what you might think about a certain population of people, whether it's the Israelis, whether it's the Palestinians, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think, whether the Palestinians have been killed for years and years and years by the Israelis, or whether the Israelis have been killed and stabbed. It doesn't, irrespective, you're calling here, or you're allowing for the call to be made for the genociding of a population. I don't understand why this, am I missing something? And I may well be, because this is not my speciality. I'm not an expert on Middle Eastern affairs by any stretch. All I'm saying here is I'm just trying to bring attention on my channel. In my school, we do this a lot. Let's balance these things, guys. Let's have a work. Let's work out what, we're not trying to find out who is right. We're trying to find out what is right. In what we would look at, I hate to say the word, in an equitable society, in a democratic country, what is right? What's the way to go? Something Thomas Sowell said, and I read a lot of Thomas Sowell. He said, look, politics is about a compromise. There is no right or wrong answer. We have to compromise. Everything is a compromise. If you increase spending on the police, of course, then by very definition, you reduce the spending on social causes, it might be, and vice versa. We increase the spending on social causes, and then we don't get the police, and then, of course, we have... It's a balance. There's not one right or wrong answer. But all I would say is, and again, as I said, I'm a free speech absolutionist, we do have to be very careful when we allow people to... We have to allow demonstrations, but when you are calling, I mean, these things are banned. You can't do these things. You're not allowed to in a society to call. I can't say I'm going to go and kill that person without a police officer coming up and arresting me. I'm not allowed to do that. Why are we allowing it on the streets? You'll get the society that we accept. We all will. What society do we want to live in? Because it could be you tomorrow. How do we allow these institutions to get into this position? Guys, 12 minutes already. What's going on? What is going on? Hit the comments. I'll get back into doing aviation content again. I just think I kind of, you want to have a voice somewhere, else I feel accountable. I'll talk about Ukraine and Russia as well soon. I just feel that, you kind of need to put your flag in the ground here, whether it's right or wrong, and say, guys, we've just got to look at this in a very kind of balanced way. This isn't the case. I remember I went to Penn State, Nittany. I didn't go Nittany Lions. I didn't go to University of Pennsylvania. I'm sure Penn State will probably say the same thing, to be fair. And I was only there for a couple of months on an exchange. But at the time, the universities weren't like this. The universities were great places to be. It was awesome. How now have they changed into this? Amazing. Amazing. And yes, a bit of a rant. I appreciate it, guys. I'm looking forward to comments because I recognise the fact that I might be a bit out of line on here. I just cannot see how this is acceptable. Am I out of line? I don't think I am. I'll read the comments. I really enjoy it, listening to people like you guys out there. I really appreciate it. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.